Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The guy was floored, Xia Menglan was stunned, her wild guess had actually been right, this massive ship was the small yacht Chen Fan had just bought. Small? Seriously? And what would a behemoth like that even cost? Xia Menglan's mind was spinning. Chen Fan took the documents and signed on the dotted line, then, the staff handed him all the paperwork for the Solange private yacht and cleared out. Now it was just Chen Fan, Xia Menglan, and Xia Mengmeng standing in front of the Solange. Chen, is this really your yacht? Xia Menglan still couldn't wrap her head around it, even the Xia family's biggest, baddest yacht was a dinghy compared to this thing. Yep. Chen Fan waved the document, confirming it. So, how much did your little yacht set you back? Xia Menglan pressed. She'd been trying to gauge Chen Fan's wealth based on a yacht before, making all sorts of assumptions. Now, that seemed laughable. Who would have thought Chen Fan would own a yacht this huge? It must have cost a fortune, right? Xia Mengmeng chimed in. Nah, not really. Just $180 million or so. Chen Fan shrugged. Not really. Just $180 million. Xia Mengmeng and Xia Menglan were speechless. $180 million was peanuts to the Xia family, a rounding error, but even the richest billionaires wouldn't drop that kind of cash on a yacht. Private yachts are usually just seen as transportation, or a luxury item for fun. To drop $180 million just for fun. That was serious money. Plus, a yacht like this isn't something you use every day, it's not exactly like a luxury car, and the cost of upkeep and maintenance on something like this? Astronomical, to buy a yacht that cost $180 million on a whim just for a bit of fun. This guy was loaded, period. Let's go check it out. Chen Fan led the way, boarding his yacht. Stunned, Xia Mengmeng and Xia Menglan followed. Stepping aboard, they were hit by pure luxury. Even Xia Menglan, who had seen it all, was gobsmacked. The lifestyles of the rich and famous were definitely something else. Xia Menglan wandered around Chen Fan's yacht, wide-eyed, like a country bumpkin seeing the big city for the first time. She wasn't taking Chen Fan lightly anymore. Owning a ship this size was proof of serious financial muscle. She couldn't wait to tell her brother, Xia Ruoshui's father. He'd flip. This is awesome. Xia Mengmeng flopped onto a sofa, sinking into the plush cushions. Too bad the weather's not great. Otherwise, I'd be out here in my swimsuit soaking up the sun. Xia Mengmeng sighed. Chen, next time the weather's nice, can I bring my sister to sunbathe on your yacht? You wouldn't say no, would you? Xia Mengmeng batted her eyelashes. When Chen Fan didn't answer, she stood, walked up to him, and whispered, my sister will be in a swimsuit, too. You think that's why I'd say yes? Chen Fan deadpanned. So you agree? Xia Mengmeng pressed. He's definitely going to agree. Hee. Xia Mengmeng grinned. After their tour, Xia Menglan approached Chen Fan, seeing him in a whole new light. Oh, and Chen's an amazing cook, too. We're all going to his place for dinner tonight, Xia Mengmeng announced. You can cook too? Xia Menglan's eyes lit up, she couldn't resist good food. Seriously, Chen's cooking is the best. Even better than a lot of fancy restaurants. Xia Mengmeng insisted. That good? Xia Menglan was skeptical. How could Chen Fan be that good at his age? Chen, my aunt doesn't believe me. Tonight, we'll have to convince her with your food. Xia Mengmeng looked at Chen Fan. Just then, the system pinged. Ding. Task. Show off your cooking skills. Time limit. 3 hours. Reward. 35% ownership of Guanyu Private Detective Agency. Complete takeover of Guanyu Private Detective Agency. Additional reward. 54 experience points. Another 35% of the detective agency. Completing this task would give Chen Fan 100% ownership. Chen Fan nodded. Perfect timing. Yum. Brands had just made a move, and he could discuss it with Ruoshui over dinner. That evening, Xia Ruoshui came home, and Xia Mengmeng and Xia Menglan headed to Chen Fan's place. Chen Fan laid out a feast. Xia Menglan tasted a dish with a bit of doubt. Instantly, she was blown away. Was this even real? Meng Meng was right. Xia Menglan quickly tried everything else, equally impressed. No wonder Ruoxue was smitten. Chen Fan was rich, good at cooking, the complete package. Chen, I approve. Lost in the flavors, Xia Menglan blurted it out. She was even using his first name now. She was impressed. She'd make sure to sing his praises to her brother later. Huh? What do you mean, auntie? Xia Mengmeng was confused. Nothing, nothing. Xia Menglan realized she had spoken out of turn and backtracked. Xia Mengmeng didn't notice, but Xia Ruoxue caught the subtext. The system pinged again. Ding, dot, task complete, show off your cooking skills, dot, reward, 35% ownership of Guanyu Private Detective Agency, complete takeover of Guanyu Private Detective Agency, dot, additional reward, 54 experience points. With the final 35%, Chen Fan now owned 100% of the Guanyu Detective Agency. Later, Chen Fan and Xia Ruoxue discussed how to deal with Yum brands. Xia's group can handle it in 2 days, tops. Xia Ruoxue promised. 3 days from now, we take down Yum brands for good. Deal. He was happy to be rid of Yum brands once and for all. After that, Xia Ruoxue and the others left. Xia Ruoxue had a good idea of why her aunt had tagged along, but she didn't want to state the obvious. These things were better left unsaid. The next morning, the system reward came. Ding, dot, reward for lasting 20 days, 5% ownership of Qianqing Auction Company. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first time I saw him, he was heading out the door. Shares of Qianqing Auction Company, one of the top 10 in the south. Chen Fan was a little thrown by the system's reward today. Never heard of them, but if the system was handing it out, it had to be something curious. Chen Fan hopped online to dig up some info on Qianqing. Turns out, Qianqing Auction Company had been around for almost a decade, dealing mainly in antiques and art, with locations all over the country. Besides auctions, they also bought and sold pieces. Qianqing was a pretty big deal. Seeing what they were into, Chen Fan's eyes lit up. Something clicked. When he was researching Chen Capital Group, one of the Chen family's main money makers, he'd noticed 2 big investments in recent months. One was in art. Chen Capital Group was secretly in cahoots with Chao Jinxi, a painter from Zhonghai, and they'd started hyping his stuff like crazy. Paintings that used to go for a few $100,000 were now fetching tens of millions. Hyping modern artists wasn't anything new. Some had their work pumped up to the point where it was worth more than museum-quality antiques. Chen Capital Group was still throwing money at it, aiming to get Chao Jinxi's paintings into the tens, even hundreds of millions range. They'd spent a fortune buying out all of Chao Jinxi's work. From now on, Chao Jinxi only painted for the Chen family. They already had a dozen or so of his best pieces, planning to release them slowly, one by one, to make a killing. Chen Fan's research showed they'd sunk anywhere from $1 to $2 billion into hyping Chao Jinxi and locking down his paintings. Now that he had shares in Qianqing, he could stir things up a bit. Auction houses had ways of manipulating the price of art. Everyone knew that. Thinking about it, Chen Fan immediately called the Qianqing execs, the ones he'd just gotten the number 4, and told them to start driving down the market price of Chao Jinxi's paintings. No sweat, they said. It was a piece of cake to mess with the prices of modern art. With that done, Chen Fan started thinking bigger. Just suppressing the price would sting Chen Capital Group, but wouldn't be a knockout blow. He'd heard rumors about Chao Jinxi being a shady character. If he could dig up some dirt and ruin Chao Jinxi's reputation, Chen Capital Group's investment would go up in smoke. Then Chen Fan remembered that he owned 100% of Guanyu Private Detective Agency, and Chao Jinxi was based in Zhonghai. Bingo. Chen Fan immediately got in touch with Guanyu and told them to investigate Chao Jinxi. Everything set, Chen Fan pocketed his phone, feeling good. 2 phone calls, and he'd potentially wiped out $1 billion investment. That was satisfying. Chen Fan grinned and went to grab a bite. While he was eating, an international call came through. Excuse me, is this Mr. Chen Fan? This is Mariko Adelaide, representing Patek Philippe. I'll be arriving in Jiangzhou City, Zhonghai Province, this afternoon. The voice on the line spoke fluent English, the Patek Philippe rep. Chen Fan's eyes widened. He'd been waiting for days, and they were finally here. Once the contract was signed, he'd officially own shares in Patek Philippe. How could Chen Fan not be excited? After a few pleasantries, the rep asked where to meet up in Jiangzhou. How about Linhai Tower? We can meet there and sign the contract. Chen Fan suggested after a moment's thought. When Mr. Adelaide arrives, I'll have someone pick him up. They agreed on the details. Meanwhile, over at Xia Group, Xia Menglan tracked down Xia Ruoshui. Ruoshui, you probably have a good idea why I wanted to come to Jiangzhou so suddenly. Xia Menglan started. She'd let something slip last night, and Ruoshui was sharp. After thinking about it all night, Xia Menglan had decided to confront her niece. At the end of the day, she and Ruoshui were close, and she practically raised her. I guess so. Xia Ruoshui nodded slightly. Honestly, after meeting Chen Fan yesterday, I was impressed. I think he has what it takes to be part of the Xia family. Xia Menglan said. You two seem to get along too. Xia Ruoshui was surprised to hear this. She'd thought her aunt was here to talk her out of it. But I'm optimistic about Chen Fan, but if I tell your father what I think, it could backfire. Xia Menglan said, concerned. I saw Chen Fan's yacht yesterday, the one worth over $1 billion. I was floored, and I loved it. But if I mention that to your father, he won't like it. He'll think Chen Fan's a reckless spender. Xia Menglan said, frustrated, dropping $1 billion on a yacht for kicks. Some people are going to think that's the sign of a spoiled brat, especially people like your father, who haven't met Chen Fan and don't know him. They'll jump to conclusions, and that's not good. So, I was hoping you could tell me if Chen Fan has a powerful identity or something impressive about him that would surprise your father. Something that would make him sit up and pay attention. Xia Menglan asked. Her mission was almost over, and she'd probably head back in a few days, but going back and saying that Chen Fan had $1 billion yacht and was a good cook wouldn't make a great impression on her brother. She needed something more, something that would grab his attention and give Chen Fan a decent shot. Something impressive. Xia Ruoshui thought for a moment. Nothing came to mind. It could be a problem if we don't have anything, Xia Menglan said, worried. Here's what I'll do. I'll go to Chen Fan's place again tonight and see if I can find anything. But if I can't dig up something good, Ruoshui, you might be in trouble. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was stoked. That afternoon, Chen Fan chilled out on the first floor of Linhai Tower, sipping tea while waiting for the Patek Philippe rep. A few minutes later, a middle-aged dude walked in. Huh. Mr. Chen. The guy clearly knew Chen Fan and came over to say hey. Who are you? Chen Fan didn't recognize him. Mr. Chen, I'm Jiang Maochang, run Xingrong Group. We've met before, the middle-aged man said politely. Oh, right, Mr. Jiang, what's up? Chen Fan vaguely remembered meeting him at some fancy get-together. Just then, more guests wandered into Linhai Tower. One of them Chen Fan knew, Qian Bowen, golden boy of the wealthy Qian family in Jiangzhou and their heir apparent. Qian Bowen was crushing on Xia Ruoshui. At a dinner, Qian Bowen tried to be her arm candy, but she shot him down. Ended up she linked arms with Chen Fan instead. Besides Qian Bowen, the other guys were also big shots in Jiangzhou. You? Qian Bowen's face went sour when he saw Chen Fan. He still held a grudge from their last run-in. Mr. Qian, who's this? A bald, loaded dude who came with Qian Bowen asked. Just some freeloader, Qian Bowen sneered. Actually, Mr. Chen's not exactly broke. He's chairman of Yongtai Real Estate Group. Jiang Maochang chimed in, this kid's running Yongtai Real Estate. Everyone was shocked. Qian Bowen was especially stunned, his face burning. He figured this guy was just a gold digger, but turns out he had some juice. Humph, even if he's chairman of Yongtai, he's still small potatoes, Qian Bowen insisted. I'm meeting with He Xinghuai later, big-time entrepreneur from Zhonghai province. Mr. He. Qian Bowen bragged. Our deal with Mr. He is way beyond Yongtai's league. Hearing that, Qian Bowen's buddies started sucking up to him. That's right, young Master Qian is the real deal in Jiangzhou. Young Master Qian's already doing business with Mr. He. Nobody else in Jiangzhou's even close. Young Master Qian's #1 in the younger generation in Jiangzhou. Before they could finish, a Rolls-Royce Ghost glided to a stop outside, and a well-dressed dude strode in. It was He Xinghai, the famous Zhonghai province entrepreneur. Mr. He, you made it. Hello, Mr. He. Qian Bowen rushed over, extra polite. Hello, He Xinghai nodded. The others crowded around to greet He Xinghai and introduce themselves. Qian Bowen shot Chen Fan a smug look, like, *C. You're not on my level. So what if you're chairman of Yongtai? I'm talking business with a Zhonghai heavyweight. You got that kind of pull, star? Qian Bowen hesitated, then sidled up to Chen Fan and whispered, if I were you, I'd get a clue and realize you're not good enough for President Xiao. Back off. The Qian family's got serious clout in Jiangzhou, and Qian Bowen heard Xia Ruoshui was something special, so he was pursuing her hard. He was going all out to get rid of Chen Fan, his rival. Only a young baller like me is worthy of President Xia. You're way out of your depth. Heh. Chen Fan chuckled, if I were you, I'd take a long, hard look in the mirror and figure out what a frog in a well really is. What did you say? Qian Bowen exploded. He was about to rip into Chen Fan when the door opened again. Several foreigners, escorted by 2 bodyguards from Zhouxiao Security Group, walked in. Boss, the Patek Philippe representative, Mr. Adelaide, is here, Chen Fan's guy announced respectfully. Everyone in the tea house went silent. Patek Philippe? These foreigners were from Patek Philippe? Suddenly, everyone, even He Xinghai, was staring at the Patek Philippe reps. Why would they come all the way to Jiangzhou? This is our President Chen, the Zhouxiao security guys said to the Patek Philippe people. Hello, Mr. Chen. Adelaide stepped forward, shook Chen Fan's hand with respect, and his tone had a hint of brown-nosing. Of course he was gonna suck up to the shareholders. Qian Bowen, He Xinghai, and the rest were totally lost. What was going on? Why was someone from Patek Philippe kissing up to Chen Fan? How was this possible? Then, as everyone watched in disbelief, Chen Fan and the Patek Philippe reps went upstairs to a private room to hash things out. Qian Bowen, He Xinghai, and the others were stunned, trying to figure out the deal. Mr. He, let's head to the private room too. Qian Bowen suggested after a beat. Nah, we'll just hang here for a bit, He Xinghai said, surprising Qian Bowen. Right now, He Xinghai was way more interested in Chen Fan. He was dying to know what the young dude was discussing with the Patek Philippe guys, and why they were treating him like royalty. Upstairs, Chen Fan and the Patek Philippe rep chatted, and the guy pulled out 2 contracts. They signed on the dotted line. Boom. Chen Fan officially owned 4% of Patek Philippe. He was now a shareholder. Adelaide had to get back, so after a while, he said his goodbyes. Chen Fan walked them out and asked the Zhouxiao security bodyguards to take them wherever they needed to go. After the Patek Philippe reps left, He Xinghai's next move left Qian Bowen and his crew speechless. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were so shocked they had to stare at each other, while Qian Bowen and the others looked on in stunned surprise. He Xinghai walked right up to Chen Fan, a hint of flattery in his voice. Hello, Mr. Chen, I'm He Xinghai. It's a real pleasure to meet you. He Xinghai figured if the Patek Philippe rep was fawning over Chen Fan, he should probably do the same, but his move was like a seismic event to the Jiangzhou bigwigs watching. They saw He Xinghai as untouchable, a real power player, and now this titan was practically sucking up to some young dude. It just didn't compute. Oh, hi, Chen Fan replied, returning the politeness. Here's my card. He Xinghai offered his card. Chen Fan took it and saw that He Xinghai was the chairman of the He Group in Zhonghai province and the vice president of the Sanfeng Chamber of Commerce. The card was covered in titles. Sorry, I don't have one to give you. Chen Fan felt a little awkward. He really needed to get some business cards printed. No problem at all. Mr. Chen, could I get a contact number? He Xinghai pressed on. Also, do you have a special connection with Patek Philippe? I'd like to make a note of that. That last part was He Xinghai's real motivation. All the groundwork was just to figure out Chen Fan's relationship with Patek Philippe. No special connection. I'm just a shareholder. Chen Fan said casually, a Patek Philippe shareholder? Holy crap. He Xinghai was floored. Not far away, Qian Bowen and the others were in shock. Qian Bowen especially was gaping, completely speechless. Did Chen Fan really just say that? He's a shareholder in Patek Philippe. Oh my god, that's insane. He remembered boasting in front of Chen Fan, telling him to stay away from Xia Ruoshui, and Chen Fan calling him a frog in a well. Qian Bowen thought Chen Fan was arrogant then, but now it seemed he was right. Qian Bowen's world ended in Jiangzhou or maybe Zhonghai province, while Chen Fan was a shareholder in Patek Philippe, a name known worldwide. They weren't even playing the same game. Qian Bowen's head dropped, utterly ashamed. Mr. Chen, you're a true up-and-comer, He Xinghai stammered, awestruck. The Jiangzhou tycoons who had been circling Qian Bowen now swarmed Chen Fan, trying to get on his good side. Chen Fan wasn't interested. Once the Patek Philippe shares were sorted out, he made an excuse and left. Back at the villa that afternoon, Chen Fan tossed the documents on the coffee table, ready to relax. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Guanyu Private Detective Agency. Boss, we've got some dirt on the painter Chao Jinshi. If this gets out, he's gonna be disgraced forever. The message oozed with gossip. Oh. What's the news? Chen Fan asked, curious. Our guys snapped photos of Chao Jinshi, and get this, the guy's in his 60s, hooking up with a woman in her 20s at a hotel. Meeting a woman in her 20s? Chen Fan was puzzled. That just showed Chao Jinshi still had some game. It'd be a little scandalous, sure, but not enough to destroy his reputation. It wasn't the kind of thing that would seriously hurt the Chen family. Don't worry, boss. We dug into the woman's background, and it's pretty wild. Oh yeah? How so? The young woman is engaged to Chao Jinshi's grandson. That the message hit Chen Fan like a ton of bricks. What? Chen Fan was stunned. Wow. Just wow. For a moment, Chen Fan was at a loss. Chao Jinshi was something else. What a stone-cold operator, brutal. He was even hitting on his grandson's fiancée. Chao Jinshi's role model must be someone like a ruthless dictator, right? Nope, even more savage than that. After a moment, Chen Fan's eyes lit up. The detective agency was right. If this came out, Chao Jinshi would be ruined, his name a curse for generations, his paintings would be worthless, and the Chen Capital Group's 10 or 20 billion investment would go straight down the drain. This was good news for Chen Fan. Leak this immediately. Publish all the evidence. Chen Fan ordered. He was doing it for Chao Jinshi's grandson, saving him from a life of misery. After it's out, stoke the flames a bit and buy some trending searches. Got it? Understood, boss. The detective agency got right to work. Meanwhile, at Chen Capital Group, CEO Chen Jiankai was listening to a report. Chen Jiankai, the third son of the Chen family patriarch, was currently in charge of the group. Boss, we've been killing it with the Chao Jinshi hype. Some of his better paintings are going for 30 or 40 million, even 50 million in some cases. The staff member was practically beaming. He thought the CEO was a genius. Not enough. Not nearly enough. I want to push those paintings to 70 or 80 million, even hundreds of millions per painting. Chen Jiankai corrected, oozing confidence. He was so proud of himself. Who else could have come up with this? We've bought up every painting Chao Jinshi has ever done. Once the hype gets them to tens of millions each, we'll release one every 6 months, maybe every few years. Our profits will double. It just takes a little patience. Chen Jiankai was thinking big. Add another 300 million to the campaign and keep the hype going. Do it now. Strike while the iron's hot. Chen Jiankai commanded. Yes, sir. The subordinates scurried to obey. In his office, Chen Jiankai was already fantasizing about the enormous profits that would flow in once the hype machine hit full speed. The more he thought about it, the more satisfied he became. If his father had trusted him, instead of his fourth brother, with the task of dealing with Chen Fan, that little worm, with his brains, he'd have left Chen Fan penniless and begging on the streets. Maybe Chen Fan would already be on his knees in front of his father, pleading for mercy. Too bad his father wouldn't let him handle it. Now Chen Fan was still out there, running wild, his talents wasted. Chen Jiankai sighed. More than an hour later, Chen Jiankai's office door burst open and a company executive rushed in, breathless. "Why are you in such a rush? The company going bankrupt?" Chen Jiankai asked, annoyed. "No, sir. You're going bankrupt," the executive said quietly. "No, wait. To be precise, you lost money." "What the hell are you talking about?" Chen Jiankai exploded. He hated the phrase losing money more than anything. "Sir, just look at today's trending searches." The executive placed a tablet on Chen Jiankai's desk. Chen Jiankai glanced at it, and his face froze. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The truth is the truth. Shocking. Famous painter Chao Jinshi caught cheating with grandson's fiancée. Chen Jiankai's heart seemed to stop as he read the headline. He clicked on the search result, and a video popped up. It showed photos of Chao Jinshi checking into a hotel with his grandson's fiancée, followed by one of them kissing. Then came a picture of Chao Jinshi's grandson and his girlfriend getting intimate. This was definitely the smoking gun. Damn, Chao's got game. How can they call this guy a famous painter? We need to boycott him. Total scumbag. Boycott. I'm with you. He's a beast who'd hit on his grandson's girl. His paintings go for millions. I wouldn't take one if they gave it away. He needs to be cancelled. The comments section exploded with calls for boycotts and bans. Chen Jiankai's stomach dropped. This is bad, he muttered. What's going on? He demanded. We don't know, Mr. Chen. This news just blew up out of nowhere about an hour ago, spreading like wildfire across every major website and video platform. Then it shot to the top of the trending list. A senior manager replied helplessly. At least it's just trending, not number one yet. If this gets out of hand, it'll destroy us. Chen Jiankai was frantic. He'd poured a fortune into building up Chao Jinshi's image, and now this. What are you waiting for? Get the PR team on this ASAP. Squash this thing, make it disappear. Now. Chen Jiankai barked orders, desperate to contain the damage. Yes, sir. The managers scrambled to action. Chen Jiankai also started working his own contacts, trying to pull strings to bury the story. Meanwhile, Chen Fan saw the trending topic as well. The Guanyu private detective agency knew what they were doing. They had planted the story on every major website and video platform in the country. Even if Chen Capital Group managed to suppress it on one site or platform, it would still be blowing up everywhere else. Since things had gone this far, Chen Fan decided to pour gasoline on the fire. He called the top brass at Xianqing Auction Company and told them to help this thing go viral, push it to the very top of the trending list, and completely destroy Chao Jinshi's reputation. Understood, Mr. Chen. The Xianqing executives assured him. This was just another form of promotion. They knew it well. They routinely hyped up artworks and other stuff. Xianqing Auction Company had strong ties in this field. After receiving Chen Fan's orders, the senior executive of Xianqing Auction Company immediately took action. Now, no matter how hard Chen Capital Group tries to remedy it, it will be useless. In terms of hype and controlling hot searches, Xianqing Auction Company can completely beat Chen Capital Group unilaterally. Sure enough, with Chen Fan's arrangement, the ranking of this hot search rose rapidly. In a short while, it had rushed to the first place on major platforms and became the subject of heated discussion by tens of millions of netizens. Back at Chen Capital Group, Chen Jiankai's team reported their failure. Bang! Bang! Damn it! A furious Chen Jiankai swept everything off his desk. Chao Jinshi's reputation was toast. The internet was ripping him apart. Chao Jinxi's paintings, once fetching tens of millions, were now practically worthless. You'd be lucky to get 10 grand for one now. Hey, get manager Bai in here, now. Suddenly thinking of something, Chen Jiankai spoke quickly. A few minutes later, manager Bai came over. 2 hours ago, I told you to pump another $30 million into hyping Chao Jinxi. How's it going? Chen Jiankai demanded. Don't worry, Mr. Chen, I've already taken care of it. I've transferred most of the money to those hype agencies. It should start working soon, manager Bai said proudly, pleased with his efforts. He had no idea about the trending scandal. You transferred most of it already? You idiot. Chen Jiankai shot to his feet, livid. $30 million, gone down the drain. Chen Jiankai frantically tried to call Chao Jinxi, ready to tear him a new one, but Chao Jinxi's phone was dead. We have a problem, Mr. Chen. We just got word that Chao Jinxi and his grandson's girlfriend are on a flight out of the country. Another bomb dropped. Chao Jinxi had skipped town. Chen Jiankai collapsed. Gudong. He slumped into his chair, utterly defeated. If Chao Jinxi hadn't fled, there was still a chance to recoup some of that $150 million buyout fee and salvage the situation, but now that he'd bolted overseas, getting that money back would be a nightmare. Over $300 million, just gone, Chen Jiankai groaned. Chen Capital Group had taken a bath on this investment. He couldn't hide this from the old man. Chen Jiankai didn't dare to go back, so he had to call to report. What? You blew over $300 million just like that? You're useless. What am I paying you for? The elder Chen went ballistic. Last time, when Chen Fan, that little punk, had stolen the project he wanted, the old man had been furious, but the Chen family had barely lost any real money, but this time, a $300 million loss. That hurt. Investigate. Find out who's behind this Chao Jinxi mess. Uncover the real mastermind, and I'll make them pay, that the elder Chen roared. Yes, father, I'll get right on it. Chen Jiankai hurried to get things moving. Back at Yujing Villa, Chen Fan saw the trending news and knew Chao Jinxi was finished, and Chen Capital Group's billions were wasted. He grinned. Chen Capital Group had taken a beating in under a day, time to strike again and launch the next offensive. Chen Capital Group had so many projects. Which one to hit next? Just as Chen Fan was thinking, the doorbell rang. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Fan opened the door to find Xia Mengmeng and Xia Menglan standing there. Xia Menglan was leaving in a couple of days, and she was hoping to find out what made Chen Fan so impressive. She wanted to drop a good word about him to her brother back home. That way, Ruoshui's dad might also get a good first impression of Chen Fan. Her heart was in the right place, but she couldn't exactly ask outright. So, she dragged Xia Mengmeng along to chat with Chen Fan, hoping to pry loose some useful information. After they sat down, Xia Menglan took the lead in making conversation. But after a while, she still hadn't gotten what she wanted. Could it be that Chen Fan wasn't some big shot after all? That would be a problem. Xia Menglan was getting worried. What to do? She really liked Chen Fan. He and Ruoshui were perfect for each other. Xia Menglan straightened up and grabbed a water glass from the coffee table. All that talking had made her thirsty, but as she picked up the glass, her eyes landed on a document Chen Fan had just placed on the table. Her eyes widened instantly, her face registering utter disbelief. What was she seeing? Xia Menglan stared in shock at the words on the document, Patek Philippe Company Share Acquisition Agreement, that she was floored. She couldn't believe what she was reading. Patek Philippe's acquisition agreement. No way. Xia Menglan quickly set down the glass, rubbed her eyes, and looked at the document again. The words were still there, Patek Philippe Company Share Acquisition Agreement. Whoa. Xia Menglan gasped, feeling a little dizzy. All she wanted was to find out if Chen Fan was anyone important, so she could give her brother a good impression, but instead, she'd stumbled upon Chen Fan's incredible generosity. Acquiring shares of Patek Philippe. Wow, that was seriously impressive. Chen Fan, what's this? Xia Menglan asked, trying to sound casual. Oh, just a document I brought back and put on the table, Chen Fan replied. Did you really acquire shares of Patek Philippe? Xia Menglan asked, surprised. Yeah, Chen Fan replied. Wait, Chen acquired shares of Patek Philippe? Even Xia Mengmeng was floored. She wasn't that familiar with business, but she knew luxury brands, especially world-class watch brands like Patek Philippe. She'd given her dad a Patek Philippe watch for his birthday, and now Chen had actually acquired shares of Patek Philippe. That was incredible. If Xia Mengmeng was impressed, Xia Menglan was practically speechless. She felt like she was dreaming. What shocked Xia Menglan wasn't just that Chen Fan was now a Patek Philippe shareholder, but that he'd managed to acquire those shares in the first place. Unbelievable. She'd heard that because Patek Philippe watches were so exclusive, the company's market value was relatively low, only a few $100 billion. But the thing was, you couldn't just buy Patek Philippe shares just because you had money. The shares were held by top-tier billionaires and big shots. Those guys weren't hurting for cash, and they wouldn't easily sell. Otherwise, every rich person would be trying to get in on it. But even with all that, Chen Fan had managed to acquire shares of Patek Philippe. His connections and financial resources were definitely not ordinary. Xia Menglan was blown away. If she told her brother about Chen Fan's acquisition, he'd be shocked. Chen Fan would definitely make a lasting first impression on this future father-in-law. Having found out what she wanted, Xia Menglan and Xia Mengmeng stayed for a bit longer before heading out. Meanwhile, at Yum Group, Kong Baixing was at home, drinking with his son and celebrating their initial success. Under their attack, Yongtai Real Estate Group was starting to crack. Kong Baixing could practically taste victory. Step up the pressure. I want Yongtai Real Estate Group taken down in the next few days, Kong Baixing told his son. This time, he'd use everything he had to crush Yongtai Real Estate Group and get rid of Chen Fan. After taking our 500 million, I'm going to make that kid pay double, Kong Baixing muttered, his face grim. Don't worry, Dad. We're going all in this time. Even if Chen Fan had wings, he couldn't escape you. Kong Baixing's son was just as happy, feeling like victory was within reach. The next day, at Xia Group, Xia Ruoxue was secretly preparing to hit Yum Group hard. Boss, while we can solve the Yum Brands issue this way, we're probably going to take a pretty big hit, a vice president of Xia Group said, worried. As an established enterprise, Yum Brands had a strong foundation. If pushed to the brink, they might lash out with everything they had. That desperate attack could be devastating. We'll take the hit. There's no business without some losses, Xia Ruoxue said boldly. She didn't mind if the company lost money to help Chen Fan. She could just work harder later to make up for the losses. Besides, the downfall of Yum Brands would be a good thing for Xia Group, too. Seeing that the boss was determined, the vice president didn't argue. He just nodded and went to make the necessary preparations. At noon, Chen Fan had just finished class when the system's voice suddenly chimed, ding, on the 21st day of cutting ties, you are rewarded with a private jet of the same model as the world's richest man, a Gulfstream G650ER private jet. All necessary paperwork for the private jet, aircraft airworthiness certificate, radio license, route application qualifications, etc., have been completed. Today's system reward was here. Today it's a private jet. That's pretty cool, Chen Fan said. To be honest, compared to a private yacht, a private jet was a lot more useful. If Chen Fan needed to travel, a private jet would be very convenient. Private yachts were pretty limited and mostly for recreation. Curious, Chen Fan looked up information about the Gulfstream G650ER private jet. The Gulfstream G650ER was one of the top-of-the-line private jets, with the longest range of any commercial aircraft, capable of flying 8,631 miles. It could accommodate 8 passengers and 4 crew members. The interior, down to the sofa, was completely customized. It even had a double bed for passengers to rest. Plus, the Gulfstream G650ER had a perfect safety system and emergency rescue equipment. Bill Gates, the former richest man in the world, owned the same Gulfstream G650ER private jet. If the former richest man in the world liked it, the Gulfstream G650ER couldn't be bad. After learning this, Chen Fan was even more excited about his Gulfstream G650ER private jet. This was Chen Fan's first private jet. As Chen Fan was researching private jets, some basic information about him appeared on the desk of a mysterious man in a large villa in Jiangzhou. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is this all the info you have on the new owner of Guanshan International Golf Course? The man asked, looking at the single sheet of paper in front of him. This man was Chen Ran, the newly appointed head of the wealthy Chen family in Jiangzhou. Yes, sir. His men nodded. Chen Ran picked up the information about Chen Fan and scanned it. Huh. This Chen Fan used to be part of the Chen family, but he cut ties with them. Chen Ran was surprised. He kept reading, but the page was practically blank. All he knew was that Chen Fan currently owned Yongtai Real Estate Group, Wangjiang Pavilion, and Guanshan International Golf Course. The rest was just fluff. That's it? Chen Ran asked, annoyed. He'd just taken over the Chen family and was eager to expand its holdings. As a frequent golfer, Guanshan International Golf Course, the biggest in Jiangzhou, was the perfect target, and the fact that it had a new owner seemed like an opportunity, so he sent people to dig up dirt on the guy. After all that time, this was all they came up with. Chen Fan was a nobody in the Chen family before. There wasn't much on him, and most of it was useless. I trimmed the fat and this is all that was left. The subordinate replied. All right. Chen Ran said, resigned. It would have to do. Get in touch with Chen Fan. I want to meet him and talk about buying Guanshan International Golf Course. Chen Ran ordered. Yes, master. His men nodded. Sir, since you want to buy Guanshan International Golf Course, should I have the finance department prepare the funds? The subordinate asked. Good idea. Chen Ran nodded. Guanshan International Golf Course is worth over $1 billion. Should I ask them to set aside $1.5 billion? Is that enough? Way too much. Chen Ran said with a smile. Just prepare half that. He had no intention of making a normal acquisition. That's why he bothered to get Chen Fan's file in the first place. He was planning to get the golf course for a steal, a few $100 million tops. Chen Fan had broken with the Chen family and become their enemy. Did he really think he could afford to cross the Chen family, too? Nobody can afford to anger two wealthy families at the same time. Chen Ran figured that once he revealed his intentions and his identity, Chen Fan would practically beg him to take the golf course for next to nothing, just to get on his good side. Chen Fan, having pissed off the Chen family, would definitely try to suck up to him in any way he could. Understood, master. The men immediately got to work. Meanwhile, the Chen family, reeling from Chen Jinping's failure, was plotting a new strategy to deal with Chen Fan. The deadline from the Jinling Su family was fast approaching. Their direct attack on Yongtai Real Estate Group had failed. Mr. Chen had to admit that Chen Fan was becoming a real player, so, if they couldn't take the big company down, Mr. Chen would start with the smaller ones and work his way up. He decided to target Wankai International Hotel, one of Chen Fan's properties. This time, he'd shut Wankai International Hotel down. He refused to believe that he could fail to take down the hotel if he couldn't get Yongtai Real Estate Group. By chance, Chen Yi, Mr. Chen's second daughter, came back from studying abroad. When she heard about the situation, she volunteered to handle it. Just watch, father. I won't disappoint you. Chen Yi said confidently. She already had a plan to deal with Wankai International Hotel. Good. We need to bring down that little bastard Chen Fan's hotel ASAP and teach him a lesson. Otherwise, he'll get too big for his britches. Mr. Chen ordered. Just wait and see, father. I've learned a lot in the past few months. If he dares to break ties with our Chen family, I'll make Chen Fan regret it for the rest of his life. Chen Yi promised, and immediately set her plan in motion. During a class, Chen Fan got a call from Chen Wenjing. Be careful, the old man sent Chen Yi after you. It looks like they're going after your Wankai International Hotel. Chen Wenjing, Chen Fan's informant in the Chen family, warned him in a low voice. Chen Yi's targeting Wankai International Hotel. Got it. Chen Fan said. He hung up and called the general manager of Linhai International Hotel, telling him to be extra cautious over the next couple of days. When water comes, earth dams it. When soldiers come, general stop them. If the Chen family was focused on Linhai International Hotel, then their attention on Chen Capital Group would slip, making it easier for him to act. After all, Linhai International Hotel was just one of Chen Fan's minor holdings. Chen Capital Group, on the other hand, was a cornerstone of the Chen family. There was no comparison. After making arrangements, Chen Fan drove to Jiangzhou Airport. His private jet, a Gulfstream G650ER, had arrived. He was eager to see it. 40 minutes later, Chen Fan arrived at Jiangzhou Airport. Just as he was about to head inside, a confused voice called out. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was still fuming. Hey, boss. Chen Fan turned at the sound of his name. A chubby guy was waving at him, Zhu Hongyi, from Jiangzhou's wealthy Zhu family. Chen Fan knew him as a sort of little brother type. Zhu Hongyi was with a serious-looking middle-aged man, his father, Zhu Guangsheng, a key player in the Zhu family. The Zhu family patriarch was over 80 and past his prime, so Zhu Guangsheng was essentially running things. He was the crown prince, next in line to take over completely. When the old man finally passed, Zhu Guangsheng frowned when he heard his son call Chen Fan boss. As the future head of the Zhu family, his son shouldn't be calling anyone boss. As Zhu Hongyi and his father approached, Zhu Hongyi did the introductions. Dad, this is my idol, Chen Fan, the guy I look up to. Boss, this is my dad. Hearing Chen Fan's name made Zhu Guangsheng even more curious. Chen Fan, any relation to the Chen family? He asked, confused. Dad, he was a member of the Chen family, but not anymore. Zhu Hongyi quickly filled his father in. Zhu Guangsheng was even less thrilled after hearing that. Even though Chen Fan had cut ties, he was still from the wealthy Chen family. The Zhu and Chen families were on roughly equal footing, so for his son to call a former Chen family member boss implied that the Chens were somehow above them. I need to talk to my son about this. He thought. Being friends with Chen Fan was fine, but the boss thing had to stop. Going out of town, boss? Zhu Hongyi asked. He and his father had just gotten back. Nah, just bought a private jet and parked it here at Jiangzhou Airport. Thought I'd check it out. Chen Fan said casually. A private jet wasn't like a fancy car you could just hop in and drive. They needed a professional airport to take off, and even rich people couldn't just build their own, so, the wealthy rented space at airports to store their jets, paying the airport to handle maintenance and inspections. It was simple and convenient. Anything money could solve was a minor issue. Chen Fan's jet would be entrusted to Jiangzhou Airport as well. Private jet? Dude, you bought a private jet? Awesome. Zhu Hongyi exclaimed. Even most of Jiangzhou's wealthy families didn't own private jets. The Zhu family didn't. Zhu Guangsheng was equally impressed. This Chen Fan kid was something else, able to afford a private jet at his age. Boss, can I see it? Get a little culture. Zhu Hongyi asked eagerly. Sure, Chen Fan said. Zhu Hongyi was alright. Thanks, boss. Zhu Hongyi was stoked. He'd never been on a private jet. Chen Fan led the way, Zhu Hongyi trailing behind. Zhu Guangsheng hesitated, then followed. He was curious about the jet, probably some small, $10 million job he guessed. Chen Fan still young, seeing his son's excited I've never seen anything like this look, Zhu Guangsheng felt the need to remind him. It's just a private plane. We'll buy one for the family in a few days. As the future head of the Zhu family's son, he had to keep up appearances. And we're getting one that costs over $100 million, not some cheap $10 million thing. Zhu Guangsheng said pointedly. He didn't want to look bad in front of Chen Fan. A few minutes later, airport staff guided them onto the tarmac. In the distance, one of the staff pointed to a huge private plane. Sir, that's your Gulfstream G650ER. The Zhu family, father and son, were stunned, especially Zhu Guangsheng. He'd assumed Chen Fan's jet was a small one, seating 2 or 4 people, worth maybe $10 million. but this thing was much bigger than he'd imagined. Is Chen Fan really that loaded? What's special about this plane? Zhu Guangxing asked the staff member. He still didn't believe it was anything special. Sir, it's a Gulfstream G650ER, one of the best private jets in the world, equipped with two BR-725A1-12 turbofan engines. The staff member gave a professional rundown. The more Zhu Guangxing heard, the more shocked he became. It's a favorite of top tycoons, like Bill Gates, the staff member added. Wait, this is the same model as Bill Gates' jet. Zhu Guangxing was speechless. He never expected Chen Fan's plane to be so impressive. Chen Fan's finances must be insane to afford something like this. Mr. Chen is truly impressive, Zhu Guangxing said, switching from Xiao Chen to a more respectful title. Maybe it's not so bad if my son looks up to him. Chen Fan boarded his Gulfstream G650ER to give it a look. He was pleased with the interior. Long-distance travel would be much more convenient. The Zhu family father and son also stepped inside and were shocked. It was certainly luxurious. As they disembarked, Zhu Guangxing made a point of getting Chen Fan's contact information. We'd love to have you at the Zhu family sometime, Mr. Chen. You'd be an honored guest. He invited Chen Fan enthusiastically, already marking him as a key connection. Zhu Guangxing wanted to make friends with Chen Fan. Sure, Chen Fan replied politely. Then Chen Fan left, heading to other appointments. Watching him go, Zhu Guangxing clapped his son on the shoulder. So? See anything wrong with the guy you call boss? Your old man's got good taste. Zhu Hongyi showed off to his father. He'd sensed his father's disapproval earlier. Now that he'd seen the private jet, things were different. Yeah, you're my son, all right. Good eye. Zhu Guangxing said proudly. Invite Mr. Chen to the house. It'd be great if we could become good friends. Zhu Guangxing told his son. Suck up to your boss. He's only about 20 and can afford a jet like that. His future's bright. If he ever needs anything, let me know. Someone with Chen Fan's potential was worth currying favor with. Got it, Dad, Zhu Hongyi agreed. After leaving the airport, Chen Fan went home. An hour later, Chen Fan received a special invitation. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The wealthy Shen family of Jiangzhou sent Chen Fan an invitation to dinner at Wangjiang Pavilion, wanting to discuss something. Chen Fan wasn't really feeling it, but then the system chimed in. Ding. Task. Accept the Shen family's invitation, go to Wangjiang Pavilion, and see what they're up to. Reward, 8% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Reward, 51 experience points. 8% of Zhouxiao Security Group. Chen Fan's eyes widened. Even though he was already a big shot at Zhouxiao, and his standing had improved, it wasn't enough. He wanted complete control, which meant owning at least 50% of the company. Currently, he only had 27%. This task would bring him up to 35%, a huge step closer to his goal. Alright, he'd take the meeting. Besides, it was his turf. What could go wrong? Around 6:30 p.m., Chen Fan arrived at Wangjiang Pavilion restaurant. A few minutes later, a handsome guy showed up with the Shen family goons who had been digging up dirt on Chen Fan. The handsome guy was Shen Hanhai, son of Shen Qingran, the head of the Shen family. Where's the old man? I thought he was coming himself. One of the goons asked. The boss had said he'd be here, so why send the kid? Chen Fan's just some 20-year-old punk. Does my dad really need to get involved? Shen Hanhai scoffed. Does he deserve an audience with my father? Truth was, an hour earlier, some problem popped up at one of the Shen family's businesses, and Shen Qingran had to deal with it. So, he sent his son instead. Hey, where's the cash for the Xilan International Golf Course? Shen Hanhai asked. Right here, young master. 700 million. The goon respectfully handed over a bank card. Good. I'll throw down 400 million, and watch me snatch that golf course. Shen Hanhai grinned, pocketing the card. He was only skimming 300 million from the acquisition money, which wasn't too greedy. Hearing that, the goons were a little stunned. the kid was even more ruthless than the old man. They were getting Guanshan International Golf Course, worth over $1 billion, for less than half price, but this guy was getting it for less than a third. Minutes later, Chen Hanhai led his crew to the private room to meet Chen Fan. "Oh, you're early," Chen Hanhai said, looking down his nose at Chen Fan. "Tonight's on the Chen family. Order whatever you want, we're paying." Chen Hanhai was all flash. Chen Fan picked up the menu and rattled off a few orders to the waiter, pointing specifically at the expensive stuff on the drink list. "Yes, sir." The waiter scurried off to do his thing. Soon, the food and drinks arrived. "Let's cut to the chase. We're interested in buying your Guanshan International Golf Course," Chen Hanhai announced. "Oh." Chen Fan raised an eyebrow. "So, that's what the Chen family wanted. How much do you want? Name your price." Chen Hanhai asked arrogantly. "How much?" Chen Fan paused, then replied, $3 billion. Guanshan International Golf Course was worth $1.7 billion. They were coming to him, begging him to sell. It wasn't like he was trying to sell it. Doubling the price was fair. "What did you say?" Chen Hanhai scoffed. $3 billion. You're out of your mind. I'm offering $400 million for Guanshan International Golf Course. $400 million. Chen Fan smirked. That wasn't even a third of the real value. Who was robbing who here? $400 million is nothing to sneeze at, Chen Hanhai said proudly. Take it or leave it. It's the Chen family's offer. The Chen family is buying it from me, huh? What if I say no? Chen Hanhai yelled, you're already fighting the Chen family to the death. You really want to make enemies with the Chen family too? Chen Fan shot back, oh, is the Chen family that powerful, that he wasn't even scared of the Su family, the top dogs in Jinling? Why would he fear some Jiangzhou family? What did you say? Chen Hanhai blew a fuse when he saw Chen Fan questioning the strength of his family. He hadn't expected this kid to stand his ground even after he dropped the family name. Kid, you better think this through. You're already on the Chen family's bad side. You want to add the Chen family to the list. You know what happens when you piss off two wealthy families, right? Chen Hanhai threatened. Ha, so what if I piss off the Chen family? Chen Fan replied coolly. Fine, very fine, excellent. Chen Hanhai gritted his teeth, glaring at Chen Fan. You just wait for the Chen family's revenge. With that, Chen Hanhai turned to leave. Hold on, Chen Fan called out. If you want to leave, settle the bill first. TCH, settle the bill. The Chen family always pays their debts. What's a little money to us? Chen Hanhai said with excessive pride. Go ahead. Chen Fan nodded at the waiter. The waiter immediately brought the bill. Chen Hanhai grabbed it casually, barely glancing at it. Then, he saw the long string of numbers on the bill and his jaw dropped. How much was this? Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. $21,979,010.52. 1, 10, 100, 1,000. 10,000. Over 20 million. I just dropped over 20 million on a single meal. Are you trying to pull a fast one? Chen Hanhai yelled, who can blow over 20 million on a single meal? Try it. I'll sue you, Chen Hanhai bellowed. Sue away. We at Wangjiang Pavilion clearly post our prices. Chen Fan replied coolly. I don't believe your prices are clearly posted. Wait a minute, did you say Wangjiang Pavilion is yours? Chen Hanhai suddenly caught on. Yep, Wangjiang Pavilion. I'm the owner. Chen Fan nodded. You're the owner. Even better. Chen Hanhai smirked. Charging over 20 million for a meal. Let's see how Wangjiang Pavilion rips people off. Chen Hanhai planned to use the bill as evidence to sue Chen Fan. Chen Hanhai started scrutinizing the bill. The first few dishes were pretty standard, only adding up to a few $100,000. For guys like him, A meal costing over $15,000 is normal, but the further down he looked, the wider Linhai's eyes popped. 5 bottles of top-shelf Romani Conti, 3 bottles of Amarone. Staring at the $3 million worth of drinks, Linhai seething. Those wines are some of the most exclusive and expensive in the world. One bottle can go for millions. Most wine parties feature 1 or 2 bottles of that kind of stuff as the grand finale, but here, a dozen bottles were opened. No wonder the bill was over 20 million, the prices were indeed clearly marked, so suing Wangjiang Pavilion was off the table. Pay up, Mr. Shen. Aren't you supposed to be loaded? You can't cough up a little money, Chen Fan pressed. Humph, it's just over 20 million, pocket change. Linhai gritted his teeth. Not only did he fail to achieve his goal, but he was out over 20 million, Linhai was bleeding inside. He could be a deadbeat and not pay, but if word got out, it would bring shame to the Shen family. After all, he'd offered to foot the bill himself. 20 million was nothing, the Shen family's reputation was priceless. To make matters worse, the owner of Wangjiang Pavilion was Chen Fan, meaning all that cash went straight into Chen Fan's pocket. Damn it. In the end, Linhai reluctantly forked over the 20 million plus, clutching a dozen empty bottles of wine. Linhai glared at Chen Fan. Just you wait, Linhai stormed out. Chen Fan would pocket at least half of that 20 million, getting wine and dined and handed a cool million for free. Linhai was a real pal. Chen Fan chuckled. Just then, the system notification chimed. Ding. Accepted the Shen family's invitation and went to Wangjiang Pavilion to see what they were up to. Mission complete. Congratulations. Acquired 8% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Share acquisition contract has been placed in your villa. Congratulations. Gained 51 experience points. The mission was complete, and he received 8% of Zhouxiao Security Group's shares. Now Chen Fan owned 35% of Zhouxiao Security Group. Just 15.1% more and he would have complete control. Hopefully the system wouldn't let him down. The next morning, the system notification came early. Ding. Day 22 of severing ties. Rewarded 10% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Today's reward arrived, and it was the 10% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group Chen Fan had been hoping for. That made his total ownership 45%, just 5.1% more, the final piece of the puzzle, and Chen Fan could take complete control of Zhouxiao Security Group. Chen Fan couldn't wait. At that moment, the system chimed again. Ding. Mission. Solve the trouble caused by Chen Yi. Please save Linhai International Hotel. Mission reward. 10% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Mission reward. 53 experience points. Chen Fan was ecstatic. Yes. If he completed this mission, Chen Fan would own 55% of Zhouxiao Security Group, a little more than his goal. The system couldn't have timed this better. Meanwhile, Chen Yi, the second daughter of the Chen family, was busy making calls. How's it going? Chen Yi asked. She was using connections she had made in college to pull this off. It's handled. We're pros at this sort of thing. You paid, and we'll deliver. The other person assured her. Good. Move now. Tonight, I want Linhai International Hotel to be a trash heap that everyone hates. Chen Yi ordered. Don't sweat it. 2 hours later, several bloggers specializing in hotel reviews simultaneously released new videos online, on major video platforms, and major websites. Shocking, a 5-star hotel, Linhai International Hotel, is a dump. Linhai International Hotel is filthy, disorganized, and poorly managed. It's the worst 5-star hotel ever. There are serious safety and health risks. Why is Linhai International Hotel still open? Who's protecting them? These bloggers had over 10 million followers combined. The moment these videos dropped, they sparked a major uproar online. Overnight, Linhai International Hotel became public enemy number 1 and plunged into crisis. Please give 5-star reviews and rewards to help boost this new book. Thank you for your support.